young singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
I've been in Daytona for like 3 weeks, and all the cabinets and stuff were cedar. Well, I just figured out I also got my blood drawn, and I'm highly allergic to cedar.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a random thing to be allergic to, cedar. And I mean, it ain't like you ain't been around cedar trees all your life growing up, you know.
Yeah, I was like
out in the woods and playing around. Surely you've been around a cedar tree before now.
Oh, I've sat in cedar trees.
Yeah.
And it was like all trees, though, were highly allergic. That and some grasses. And I was like, that's weird.
Wow.
My doctor was wanting me to do it.
That's like some crap that I would find out after I spent all kinds of money and stuff on something.
Oh, man. I just walked down there and I realized it when I was walking in. I was like, the guy goes, yeah, this is all cedar. And I was like, uh-oh, I forgot.
Dang.
Whatever.
Well,
anyway,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Justin Moore Podcast. Here we go today, episode 2, season 3. I'm joined by my brother, the namesake of this podcast, Mr. Justin Moore, and our brother, our NASCAR brother, the fastest man on the field the other day, by God, points leader of this young NASCAR season, Mr. Austin Dillon. What's up, fellas?
Not much, buddy? Man. Just hanging out, ready to, started the season, had a good run, was really close.
You kept me up late. I texted Austin during the, it was what, 5-6 hour delay?
It was a long one.
And I was like,
we
man,
sat
is this
there
going
and
to
watched
happen?
the movie.
Is this going to happen tonight? Because I'm tired.
Yeah, I was going to say, AD, what do you do when you got that long to keep you? You have to stay focused, I'm sure, but hell, you got to kind of chill and not burn up your energy either.
Well, it's funny. Like all day, usually before the races, I don't eat a whole lot. I kind of just eat a pretty good sized breakfast, and then I wait till the race starts, maybe have a bar or something. And so usually I'm starving after the race. Well, when the rain delay hits, I don't know why, but then I start thinking about food. So we actually had some wings. I don't know why I got into the wings and pizza, but pizza and wings in a movie in between the couple hour delay. So then we went back racing.
That actually brings a good question up. My wife asked me this morning when she's like, oh, you're talking to Austin today, right? I was like, yeah. And she goes, you got to ask him this. And I'm like, yeah, I will ask him this because I don't know the answer to this. Do y'all just pee in your pants?
So
during a race or what?
Dude, that's like
I'm dead serious. I really don't know.
No, it's a good question. I mean, so I just pee beforehand, obviously, when I get to the car. Sometimes you'll see me like run off like right after the national anthem and I'll take a pee and then come back. But I've peed in the car probably 3 times. I mean, I can count them on my hand. And it is so hard to pee yourself when you're strapped in. It is very hard to tell yourself to do that. It's not fun, but it was mostly because I just forgot to let it go beforehand. And usually it's hot enough where you don't have to go because you're kind of sweating it out, I guess. You're sweating the water away. That's what I always say. I don't know if that's true, but
oh, I'm sure, yeah.
No, she was like, do they wear diapers or do they put a catheter in? I go, I'm sure they don't put a catheter in.
Now, there is a couple guys, I don't know of any now, but there was a couple guys like Robbie Gordon and a couple of them that would just pee their seat every time. But there was one that had he ran a tube down the inside of his driving suit and they would actually drill a little hole in the floorboard and he'd pee.
Wow.
So if he passed you, he literally was pissing on you.
Yeah, that's wrong, man. That's messed up.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. Well,
anyway.
I'm gonna go ahead and mark that off the list of things Justin's gonna do because he could never go that long without having to go to the bathroom. This joker will go 3 times between the bus and the stage.
I kind of do the same thing that you were describing though before a show. Like I'll go like 5 times because I'm like, man, I don't want to have to run off the stage or whatever.
Oh no, you can't.
Britches. So
yeah, and I'm thinking, how is he going again? He just went to the bathroom 4 minutes ago. He hadn't took a sip of anything, and he's going again.
I used to have a rule when I knew I was hydrated. I was like before the race, I'd go to the bathroom, and then by the time I got back to the trailer, I was already turning around and headed back to the bathroom. That's when I knew I was hydrated enough to race good.
Yeah, that's funny, man. So good run, good week, huh? I mean, just super close. It looked like, was Harvick pushing you at the very end?
At the duel, he pushed me. Yeah, at the duel, he pushed me to the win of that. And he was a car in front, 2 cars in front of us there at the end. I haven't actually went and watched the replay, and the last 10 laps were pretty intense because the top was so fast and all those Fords are lined up there. And it was kind of one of those things. I had Chase. He was kind of my wingman back there, and Chevrolets, we had talked about just taking care of each other in the race. And we'd kind of gotten where we felt like we were in a decent position. And we had jockeyed, we got one guy out of line somehow. And that was when we were racing with about 8 to go. And when we got back in line, I think we were fifth or fourth, and a couple more Fords to go. And it's, man, if you don't have the help to pull out, it's a tough decision to make because it's kind of getting in a sucker hole and you just go to the back. Right. I knew my car was fast enough. It was fast all throughout speed weeks, and we were up front the entire 500, and same with the duels. But yeah, it was just kind of, you had to be patient, man. And the 4 pulled out at some point in there. I don't remember what, probably 2 to go. And that moved us up probably 4th. And that's a good spot to be in, really. I've won from 4th in the 500. I won from 4th in the duel. And I knew I had Chase behind me. And we had kind of started dragging back and trying to get a run. And saw an opportunity there on the white flag to pull down. And I did. And it didn't really build the speed I needed it to. And that's when we went into 3. And then they all started blocking and wrecking. And I had a big run to them and missed the wreck, kind of split through it. And we just came out a couple car lengths short. But it was a fun race. And, man, we had a really fast car. Glad we get to take it to Talladega. That'll help.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. The reason I was asking if he was pushing it, because whoever was on the top side, I guess the 2 ended up winning the race. But it looked like he got just such a much bigger push than you got. Or something, yeah. But I'm not a pro at this.
No, you're right. So, like, that top is so fast, like we were talking about, and I've replayed that last couple laps in my mind a couple times. The only other thought I had was to stay on top because I was behind the 34, who was the eventual winner. He had a little damage on his right rear, and he was really fast at that point. And I'd pushed him probably with 3 to go, and tried to push him and get him pushing those guys in front of him, get him a little antsy, but. Yeah, he got that big run when we pulled out, and I think the 9 gave him a good little shove or something. He got some momentum from them. And what happens is that those guys start touching the brakes. It's funny. You start touching the brake to kind of pull off the guy in front of you so you get a hit and get a run for the lead. So I'm pretty sure Brad, what he did, he just backed up to the 34. A 34 gave him a shove, and it's like hitting boost, man. It gives you that big run, and then you're just holding on. You're trying to. They're kind of driving you more than you're driving them when you're getting pushed. And, but that's the only way you're going to have a shot to win it is to hang on to it.
Shake and bake.
Yeah, that's right. And it's crazy that speedway racing it's insane, but it's a lot of fun when you have a good day, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But
hey, I tell you, when you talk about going up top, and anybody that's never been to a NASCAR track, and I've been lucky to be on the track, ain't nothing more exhilarating than riding a golf cart about 2 a.m. around Dega after a good race and a good show. But if you've ever been down low enough to see a NASCAR track from the television, looks pretty flat. But when you're on that track, those corners are so high. You would never believe that wall. It's literally y'all are racing on a wall on the corners, and you would never believe they were that tall. So when you say up top and up high, it's not just looking outside; they're literally up higher. I mean, some of those are just wild.
Yeah, the grip level is usually better, and that's how we end up going up there and running up there. It kind of saves your tires and makes the handling of the car a little better. And in saying that, you're running. I mean, we're running inches off the wall, drafting behind these guys, so. It looks like, all right, those guys are just riding right now. But even when you're riding them, you have to really mentally stay sharp because if you make one move, I mean, you can hit the fence. I mean, you're right up there against it. And let's
just be honest. All of you guys are insane.
I would say I would say those races for sure were pretty insane. That speedway racing is it. You have to shut your brain off for a little while, especially a couple laps to go. It's the craziest thing because something's going to happen. I mean, there's no doubt that you're putting yourself in harm's way, and that's just what you got to do to have a shot to win them.
Do you just mentally like chime in some old Conway Twitty song or something in your head so you don't get worried about it? You're just thinking about a Ray Price song. Just this is okay.
Man, I listen to. I put Justin Moore songs in my head when I'm out there riding around at 200.
But that's why we drink, huh? That yes, one, I'm sure.
Exactly. That's a great one for the white flag.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good times. Yeah, we saw you actually at a track a couple of months ago in Charlotte, one of the only events we got to do all of last year. Got to see you and your crew. Y'all came out, kind of home base for you. You're not far from there. So that was good. That was fun. We talked about it on here. It was kind of different not having the regular crowd and the right, the sound system and playing it from the trucks. But I mean, how was it for you guys? I looked like y'all were having fun. I mean, I guess it's better than no show.
Heck yeah, it was a blast. We had a great time. We pulled our truck up there. I definitely wish they would have blasted it through y'all's speaker system. But I mean, I had my truck doors open. I had 2 trucks there, and we had all 4 truck doors open and had it cranked, and that was pretty solid. And then I think going back, I would have brought like one of those Bluetooth or something, boom boxes or something.
Yeah. But
it was pretty cool, and it was just nice to see a live concert. You know what I mean? And get to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about the simulator racing. I'm like, it's action. I mean, it's fine with me. It's good. I'm not going to go there anyway this week. I'm quarantined, so it's fun. So.
Yep. It was fun.
We got to get next time we're over that way. I want to get Justin that simulator. That's what we got to do. We got to test him.
We can do that. We've got one here at the shop. Now it's a static rig, which means it doesn't move around. The fun ones are the ones that move. I've seen a couple people get sick in those, but I like the static rig personally, just because I feel like it gives me more of a feel of what my car gives me. The one that moves around's nice, but it's almost like a false feel sometimes.
Yeah,
it's fun to make people sick.
I'd like to get on a simulator. I'm a little more prone to doing that than actually getting in a car. I'm a chicken. I would get in a car with you driving. I don't think I need to be driving though.
What we need to do, I've been working on this 2-seater car because I went to Austin, Texas, and trying to sharpen up my road course racing skills. I never did a lot of it, and went to the F1 track they have down there because we're racing the cup cars there. And we raced a 2-seater car in about a 90-car field, and it was a blast, man. There was all kinds of stuff out there, and it's crazy because, I mean, you got just anybody and everybody out there racing. I mean, you might be racing against a 75-year-old doctor who's got tons of money and running a freaking Aston Martin or something like that.
Wow.
And we took like a late model and just turned it into kind of a road course car, but it was fast. And it was me, my teammate Reddick, another one. And we're playing out there, and you've never seen, these guys would get in their mirror and you could literally see their eyes when we would get behind them. And you'd miss they'd miss a corner, and they're still looking in the mirror. They miss the next corner, and by the 3rd corner, they're so far, they're in the grass. And it was so fun to just go out there and have a blast. But that would be a good one for you.
Do they realize that they're racing against like you and other pros, or not?
I think
really?
they noticed because we were the only bright yellow car that wasn't like a BMW or a foreign car. We took a car that you would see like on a Saturday night short track race, turned it into something that you could take. And the body does look like a Camaro. That's what it was. It was a Camaro body. It was a fiberglass body that goes over this chassis, but we were the only Camaro there. And we were having a lot of fun messing with people.
Like I just envision like the same type of deal with Michael Jordan shows up at the Y and just spanks dudes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was fun, to say the least. But there are some good cars. There's some good road course racers that were out there for sure. But there was one guy, though, man, he was in this, I don't know what it was, and he spun in front of me. And, I mean, it almost scared me because he spun literally right in front of me just looking in the mirror.
That's funny. Well, that's the other thing about when we're talking about, how, crazy it is to be running inches from the wall at 200 miles an hour or whatever is. You guys, I would imagine, have a ton of trust between drivers too. I mean, you know that those guys are skilled and trained like yourself, and they're not going to do something crazy for the most
you have trust
part.
with
I know it happens.
certain guys.
Right.
Certain.
Okay. Yeah. You would like to have trust in everybody, I guess.
Right. You know, every one of them is good, and there's a reason they got there. But there's still the ones that I don't like to be around. And I'm sure there's some that don't like to be around me either. But that's just part of it, you know. I mean, you probably got some country music singers, right, that you like to be around, and some that you just rather not be around, right?
Yeah. You know, like Luke Bryan is awful to be around, for instance. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. He's a good buddy. But no, you're right. I mean, people always ask me who you best buddies with, and you know, I really get along with pretty much everybody in country music. But you are closer to some people than
Certain
others.
people.
I mean, obviously, you know. So
it's just a trust feel. Same with when you're running, when you're racing out there, and if you're going to hit the wall, I just want to be in control of who I'm going to hit the wall around, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it's like you said, you know, some people there are boys, but or girls, but you just know they a little wild. You just know they got that wild streak. You just never know. Hey, prime example, one of our good buddies, Chris Jansen. Love him to death, but that joker, you just never know what's going to go on. He's just wild, you know.
I've met Chris. He is wild. I've met him.
He's a character. He's a character.
So, but good. Love them to death, but yeah, you just you just know they're just wild. You never know.
Heard that.
How's we heard him at the very beginning, but how's Ace doing?
He's doing good, man. He's growing up fast. He flew on a plane for the first time. He went to Daytona. He did good on the first flight. And second flight, he did fine, but I think maybe it got his ears a little bit. But he's doing fine. I heard him crying a little bit. Mama's got him right now, so it's crazy. Like, I thought I was like the one he would come to, you know, when he's crying, but no, ain't a chance. It's the blonde hair, I believe, or just the fact that she's a good mom.
Man, it's crazy. Like, I've got 4, you know, but my youngest is the only boy, and I thought, man, we're so tight, which we are, and he's my brother now, and he wants to be around me, go do stuff with me all the time, but if he don't feel good or he's whiny about something, straight to mom, and he won't give me the time of day. So I know the feel. How old is yours? He's what, 2 maybe?
He's like
something
8 months now. 8 months.
Oh, really?
Okay.
8 months. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's baby.
We talked at the very beginning of this. I was hosting a sports show on Sirius XM, and I think that was right around the time you guys had him. But for some reason, I was thinking he was a little older. But maybe you had.
Well, we've been in a time warp for a year.
I know.
We
I feel
have
like
been.
I'm in the on a different planet most of the time. But anyway, so
how'd you do in hunting season?
Man, this is the first year I didn't kill a deer. Gosh, man, probably in 10 years, something like that.
Really?
I really had full intentions of hunting a lot this year because my oldest daughter was really wanting to get into it, and I had an older deer on camera that I was hunting. You know, I'm pretty specific to the deer I want to kill.
Yeah,
like
picky,
you.
yeah.
I mean, you know. And so I had opportunities to kill other deer, but I didn't think I should yet. You know, hopefully they'll be a little bigger next year. But I had one good deer. I think he was probably 5 or 6 year old deer that I had him on camera last year. I saw him one time this year, and I tried to get my daughter to go kill him because he was a little worse this year. So he's on the downward spiral train. He really should have been shot last year. But anyway, I begged my daughter this one specific day. I go, let's go hunt, see if we can kill that big deer. Only time I had him on, we didn't go. She didn't want to go. She didn't want to get up early. He stood under a feeder 100 yards from the stand for 45 minutes.
Oh, no.
And that's the only pictures I have of him in the daytime. So it's like, So I told her, you gotta hunt. If you're going to kill deer, you got to be out there. So, but you did pretty good, I take it.
No, I did the same thing. I didn't kill anything, but you know, when I had Ace, I was like, I'll be able to hunt. It'll be all right. And I went one time to my spot in Ohio, hunted for Actually, I went twice, a couple days each time, but didn't really put in the time and effort. But I had a big deer up there and wasn't able to get him. Actually, the neighbor got him on the property right to the west there. But I've still got some good deer, like you said, that are walking around over there that made it through that I'm excited about next season. So that's what it's all about, just getting in the woods a little bit.
Yeah, just in time for you to come pick me up, and we'll go knock them down next year.
Perfect. That's the plan. I'm gonna hunt better this off season.
It's so weird, man. Like at the beginning of all this, I'm like, well, I got all this time. I'll get all this stuff done. I'll get to do what I want. I ain't played golf one time.
You gotta get out there.
I didn't hunt hardly any. It's just, I don't know. It's been weird with the kids being home from school at times where they normally wouldn't be. And I mean, I was teaching third grade math earlier, and it's been a long time since I've been in third grade. And
Are you good at math?
No, I'm terrible.
I'm awful. That's my worst subject. I am absolutely terrible at math.
Yeah, I told my kids, math and science, you got to go to your mom. I can help you with history and English, but math.
That's me. I like history, and I'm not good at English either. But.
So yeah, I know proper English. I don't use it, but I know it. So
I just hated grammar. I like English, but I don't like grammar. Like I was not good at punctuation.
See, I really enjoyed writing, which is kind of weird that's a big part of my job now. Like my wife's college papers, I wrote all of her college papers just because I enjoyed it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I went to college for 2 weeks, but I know I could get through the grammar and the lit stuff if I had to. So I
took one college math course, and it was like finite math, and it was all on a computer. But you had a calculator on the computer. Mm-hmm. I didn't get it, but it was awesome. It was easy. And then I was done with math because I was trying to be a communications major. Didn't work out. I made about two and a half years, but then racing took over.
Racing was in your blood, though, buddy. I mean,
yeah. How young were you when you first got into like competition stuff? Is it like little league ball and stuff? You were young, and you were doing go-karts, four-wheelers, that kind of stuff or something?
Well, some of the guys start really young. I mean, you can start go-karting 6 years old if you want, 7 years old,
wow.
Which is, that's young. But they're out there. There's a track not far from here where I'm at in North Carolina called Millbridge, and that place is packed with everybody in the garage is kids right now. They race on Wednesdays because most of the dads are at the track. So they race on Wednesday nights, and they get a huge crowd out there. But I didn't start till a little later. Now, we did mess around a little bit when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, a couple go-kart races. But, I played other sports. I played baseball, basketball, football, soccer. Tried to play everything. And then when we really got hot and heavy on the racing deal, I was 15 and my brother was 13. And we got our first, cart. They're called bandoleros. It's a cart with a body on it. And we ran those for a little while and then jumped into Legends cars, which are like a sedan, old coupes and sedans that you run. And then we went dirt racing. And that's when things started heating up because we dirt raced. We dirt raced all over, probably 50 races a year there for a couple years. And that's kind of where I got a bunch of the experience. And then we went into a NASCAR East Series, which is a smaller series. We run about 13 races, ran that. I ran second in points, went to the Truck Series, and then from Trucks to Xfinity to the Cup. But it was 15 years old, yeah. So a little later than most, 14 or 15. I'm right around in there.
That's about the time you realize all the pretty girls like the boys driving them cars. He said, "Well, I might look into this after all."
It definitely wasn't a bad deal. The Nomex, it must smell good.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's funny. It's usually ball players want to be musicians, and and musicians want to be, or athletes want to be entertainers. Entertainers want to be athletes, and it all stems back to that. Whichever one they could figure out they could woo the ladies with early on. Usually, sends what path they go down.
Oh yeah, we have a couple saying racing. You have waffle bellies, which is the girls that hang on the fence and they get the waffle belly. And my wife the other week when we were at the 24-hour races, her and her friend got up and took pictures with their bellies on the fences.
I love it.
And said,
"That's awesome."
Doing their best waffle belly. It was funny.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Oh my god!
Y'all taught me a word. I couldn't remember what it was.
Germ.
Something about guys that ask. Germ.
Yep.
I forgot about that conversation. Because you were giving us the lowdown on racing, obviously, and we were trying to keep up with you on the music stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some special folks out there that God bless them for having the passion for music and sports like they do. But there's some funny cases out there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No doubt. It's like when you play in baseball, it's the cleat chasers, and when you turn it into a guitar, it's the strap chasers, and continues on.
All the way to the waffle belly.
I don't know what girls that like. I don't know. Yeah, right. I don't know what girls that like tour managers be. I guess Sharpie chasers. I don't know.
Sharpie chasers. There you go.
Yeah. How's all your crew doing? How's Moses? How's all your boys doing? Everybody good?
Everybody's doing good. They're down there, getting ready. They've been practicing all winter, pretty much getting ready for pit stops. Paul and Moses, and he's trying to find his deals right now. They kind of pop up randomly because he's new, and he just kind of picks up what comes. But he's getting better and better, man. He's working hard, and pit crew deal is cool because you can come in there with a little bit of athleticism and a lot of drive, and you can figure it out. I mean, it takes a lot of reps, but the guys that really just put their heart and soul into it, they get good, and they can kind of get to a higher level pretty quick. But man, our pit stops are so important because we lose like tenths on the track racing around each other, but we lose seconds in a pit stop. I mean, if you have a bad pit stop, it's 2 or 3 seconds, and that's a long way when it comes down to it. But those guys are real athletes. We got a solid team this year. I feel good about, obviously we're the points leader right now. That's the first time in my career we've been the points leader, which it's the first race of the year. So long time to go, but it's good way to start.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. So
where you guys off to next? You say you got Dega next?
Daytona next in a road course format.
So that's right.
It's a road course, and I think that was because they canceled California. Fontana got canceled, didn't want to go out there because of the COVID, and so Daytona said, "Heck, we'll just have you back down another weekend, but you'll run the road course." And so it's a challenging track. It'll be hot probably this time around. So I'm hoping we run a right side window at some of the tracks. And it's really hot when it's in, and I'm hoping they pull it out for this weekend. So we'll see. How's the weather where you guys are at right now?
It's frozen. I was going to ask you if you were frozen too. Y'all got
in
all
North Carolina,
snow.
it's pretty chilly.
Y'all have the
it's
snow
pretty
and
chilly.
Ice?
No snow and ice, just a little rain. It's been rainy and wet. I'd rather have the snow.
See, I think the last time it snowed here was maybe 6 years ago or something in Arkansas, where I'm at. And we got 6-8 inches over the last couple of days, and it's supposed to dump again tonight. So I hate it. I hate cold weather, period. So I'm just like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, and we're supposed to be playing a show tonight in Jackson, Mississippi, which we had to move because Jackson is icicle.
Really?
And we couldn't get the buses and trucks are in Nashville. They're frozen in. I mean, we had to end up moving it to next year. And then Justin and them are supposed to be going on vacation. But it's just weather. This is crazy. I'm down here. I live in Gulf Shores. I live in South Alabama, and it was frozen. I've got a little ice out there now. It got down in the teens last night for a second, but it's warming back up. It's 45 now. It not too bad down here, but not far north. Yeah, I saw in South Mississippi, like Hattiesburg and stuff, was wind chill of -1 and things like that. So it's pretty brutal little storm.
Global warming, right?
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. It's Trump's fault. And then there's another wave of this stuff coming back through again.
Tonight here. So it's nasty.
Yeah.
We did get the kids out yesterday and pulled them behind the side by side, and they got to sled and do all that stuff. So they enjoy it, but I'm ready for it to go. away.
Yeah. Did you build a snowman?
I didn't actually. I told the kids they needed to, but I got my fill of it yesterday, and I'm like, y'all can put on y'all's gear and go outside, but I had enough of it yesterday. I'm gonna stay in the heat. So
Justin wears snow gear when it's hot.
You don't like cold.
Not even. I mean,
No.
if it's 80, hell, that's chilly to him. So I know he's getting crushed.
yeah, I'm basically a 37-year-old in a 77-year-old's body.
So
in
Florida's
mentality.
in the future for you?
Oh
Is
yeah,
Florida in the
See, we
future
have
then?
a place. Yeah, we have a place down there, and spend as much time down there as we can. But we have a place in Destin, which
Awesome.
it's not tropical by any stretch of the imagination, but it's probably 55 degrees there right now, which is a whole lot better than 25 or whatever the heck it is here. So
I feel like Destin is Nashville, the southern Nashville right now for country music singers.
it kind of feels like
38.
that. Yeah.
My wife is wearing me out. She's like, we need to go to 38 and check it out and see if we can find a cool condo or something. So actually, that's where we're going to go for our off weekend for vacation, is down there in Destin.
I tell you what, man, we always went there growing up, and my wife's from south of New Orleans, so that's where they always went also, to the beach. And we actually met down there, and anyway, we vacationed there a lot. So years ago we bought a house there, but most people like 30A. That's where a lot of the Nashville folks are. For us, it's a little too bougie. We like Destin because it's a little more hillbilly, if that makes any sense.
I hear you.
But that whole area is nice, and the beaches. I'm a proponent and love it down there, and so I'm a little biased, but there really is no prettier beaches anywhere to me. So
Yeah. It's
and
got
JR's
that white
the same
sand,
kind
right?
of deal. Yep, exactly.
Sugar
So-
White Sands. Yeah, and I'm the same. I grew up in South Alabama, and even though I live in Gulf Shores now, Gulf Shores Orange Beach, for where I grew up, was farther than Destin. You could just hop down and go to Destin. Was like an hour and a half, 2 hours from where I grew up, and then in college at Troy. So we were down there a lot too. In 38, I can remember going out there with buddies whose family had, acres near the water and stuff, before it was overpopulated. So for me, I love it. It's beautiful over there. But it's just like, I remember, and it's kind of like that here too. I remember when it was a lot simpler and a lot less chill, a lot more chill. And now it's kind of overpopulated a little bit. It's kind of like, it's kind of like going back to where I grew up on the lake too. It's just a lot more people. I always tell people, if you find something really nice, don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be too many people there. It's going to be just like where you left from. So,
No doubt.
but yeah, all basically from, Fort Morgan, Alabama, just east of Mobile, all the way around down past 38 to Panama City Beach and on down there. That's all pretty white sands. Once you get over to Mississippi, they have beaches. So does Louisiana and Texas, but it's just different.
It is a little different.
Panama City, I've been there. That's a fun place.
Oh yeah, when you're about 18, 19 years old, it's fun.
Yeah, that was our spring break spot, buddy. Getting out there on the strip, cruising the strip.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop.
So
212s in the trunk. Watch out.
but when you go down, man, let me know.
I will. I think we're going to be there
'Cause we'll-
July something. So I'll hit you up and let you know. We rented a house, and yeah, Panama City. Funny story. One of the old owners in NASCAR, James Finch, he built Panama City. He did a bunch of the condos and stuff, and that's where he liked racing, and that's what he made his money on, was construction. But he let me go down there and stay for a week or so when we were back in the day. That was a fun trip. Had a lot of fun.
Club La Vila.
Yeah, yep, Club La Vila. I think it was kind of it was a dead season because they had just got in trouble or something, and they don't let you drink on the beach there anymore or something.
Yeah, it was something. They did something like through, I know, spring break. Yeah, or something.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So I think they were trying.
They kind of change those laws ever so often, and it kind of depends on when you hit it. Yeah, because every now and then they'll shut it down and try to clean it up, and then I don't know.
Then they
here
realize
they've
they
done
need
that
the money, and they open it back up.
Exactly. That's
Right.
the thing. Yeah, exactly. So, but
We went to Sarasota for a couple days in between the 24-hour race, because I ran a 24-hour race down there too. And that was wild because I'd never done anything like that. It's crazy, man. Some of the best race car drivers from all over the world, and that I was a bit outclassed, but I had fun. We finished 4th overall, and you talk about a grind. I got 6 hours in of driving time, total driving time. Now that was, I'll just go ahead and give you a funnier story. I actually myself after the first stint. But
you got to stay away from the wings and pizza before you race.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I felt good. I do know what happened. I didn't eat anything all day. I was trying to keep it light, and I thought I would have time because I was supposed to be the second driver. Well, things kept happening. They practiced driver changes because the pit stops are important because you actually change drivers and you're trying to keep it under a certain time. And so we did that, and we did all kinds of stuff, just one after another, and piled up. Well, I did my stint, and I got out, and I was a little like, oh no, man, I got a lot of driving left, and I got to figure out. I was too I was already sweated too much. So I started pounding water and Gatorade, trying to get ready for the next stint. I wasn't too far away, and I was like, I hadn't ate, so I ate a banana and something else. And then that happened when I got back to the bus because I was pretty much just full of fluids.
Yeah,
so
right.
I had to get on the Pepto-Bismol train and finish the rest of the night, but I made it through it. It was an adventure. My buddy was in the bus, and he was laughing at me the whole time, and I was actually kind of getting panicky because I couldn't control, and it was a point there. I was like, hey man, I know it's funny, but like, I need some help. Like, go get some Pepto-Bismol or something. And, but we made it through a 24-hour race, and
nice.
It was, that was interesting.
6.5 hours in the saddle, man. You just got to be zonked after that.
It was pretty tiring, but I mean, I'd done a pretty good job leading up to it. But yes, I mean, the next day was kind of just like blah, ready to take a break because those cars are real rigid. They don't have a lot of shock on them or suspension. So just a lot of impact.
I bet. It's about like drinking with more for a whole weekend. I just feel like,
need a break.
Right. Not a whole lot of cushion.
Right. So,
good times, man. I was just gonna say I appreciate you coming on, AD. I know you got a million things going on a race week, but dude, I'm glad you carved out a little time for us. We're gonna get you back when the off seasons we can chop it up, and maybe we'll do one live and have some beers somewhere whenever it gets back. And I'm
when you're the Cup champion.
Hey,
absolutely.
I'm ready for that. Now we'll definitely throw a party if and when that happens, or if we just win a race, I mean, we'll throw a party. Heck, if we finish 10th, we'll throw a party.
There we go. I know a band that'll work for cheap, and we got some open dates.
All right, guys.
Right.
Thanks for having me on, and we got to do this more often, man. We'll keep an update like quarterly through the season.
There we go.
Tell you how it's
I like
going.
it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
There you go. And if you get down there, I'm 2 hours from you. If you get down to 30A, whenever y'all do it, you need anything, I got buddies over there, all that. Just holler at me.
Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, brother, I really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. And, man, continued success, and go get them next week or this week and beyond, man. Be pulling for you and watching.
Thanks, man.
Watching all the races. So if you need something, holler, brother.
Will do. Let me know if we're in the same town too. I'll come check y'all out.
All right, buddy. Sounds great, man. Be safe.
All right, see you.
Appreciate you, brother. Well, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? NASCAR driver Austin Dillon of the number 3 car here on the Justin Moore podcast. Man,
good
I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. He just makes it seem like it's nothing, and I'm like, no, driving a car at 200 miles an hour for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6.5 hours. But they just like it's nothing.
Man, I guess that's just kind of the way people would look at us going on stage or doing what, I mean, to us it is nothing. Maybe it's like that to them. Getting in there and driving 200 miles an hour, an inch from
is the same
a
as
wall.
Yeah,
is
the same as.
I don't know. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I have a ton of respect for him and all those guys. Really, anything
Absolutely.
professional, athlete-wise. I mean, what they have to do to get their bodies in shape. And, I mean, he was making a joke about soiling himself. But, I mean, they have to know how much fluids to drink. And I mean, it sounds simple, but it it's really not. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline on their behalf.
Pro level stuff.
Sure.
And like you said, same as ours. It's I mean, you have to have done it and repetitions, and you get good at it, you get good at it. So anyway, all right, guys, we're going to take a real quick short break here on the Justin Moore podcast. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about our brand new sponsors on the podcast. We're going to talk about snow day at Justin's house. Did I watch Yellowstone? Maybe.
I hope you did.
You have to hang in there and find out. We'll be right back here on the Justin Moore podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Justin Moore podcast. Thanks again to our brother Austin Dillon for taking a little time out of his busy race week schedule to come on and chop it up with the boys for a minute. Great having him on. Wanted to say real quick. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a sec. Got a little trail dust in my throat. Hold on, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks again for Austin coming on. That was awesome, and he had a really good week, obviously, as we talked about in Daytona. So for him to come on was pretty awesome, and always good to catch up with him. He's a genuine friend of ours too, so it's always good to catch up. But yeah, I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I got a little trail dust, and actually, I think I found something to do the trick here. This looks like a nice all-day IPA. Let's see if this will do the trick. Ooh.
Hey,
I
have waited to try this. We got this nice little care package of beer, Founders all-day IPA, and also nice little hat, which you're wearing right now. I had it just displayed up here.
So we said last week we were going to clue you guys in on our new sponsors, and our first new sponsor of the Justin Moore podcast this season.
It's a beer sponsor.
It's
shocking.
beer. Absolutely. This is the shocker of the week is we got a beer to sponsor the podcast. So I want to give a big shout out to Founders Brewery out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Oh, yeah, it's a great IPA, all-day IPA. It's actually the second best-selling IPA in the country. It's a session IPA. You can get it's perfect beer for any occasion. Like I said, it's out of Grand Rapids, but it's nationally distributed. I get these at Rouse's. I've got these at Rouse's before, but just a great IPA. So we want to give a shout out to Founders Brewery for all-day IPA and supporting the podcast.
I'm not just saying this, but I honestly, I usually don't drink IPAs because they're sometimes a little harsh for me.
Yeah, this one isn't too sharp. It's perfect.
This is not like that at all. I mean, it's really it almost drinks like a light beer or something to me. I mean, it's really good, and quite frankly, it's not even super cold right now because I put them in the wrong refrigerator. So, if you can drink a beer warm, it's a good beer.
I'm telling you, cold, even better. Cold, even better.
I'm sure.
Icy cold. I had a couple of these. I actually had one last night, maybe one the night before. I've had a few of these this past week getting ready for this big announcement here on the Justin Moore podcast to make sure we were having the right product, because that was one thing Justin's mentioned a few times on here, or maybe not on here, but in some talks we've had about podcast stuff. We really don't want to have anything. We don't want to push anything that's not us. You can't get, this is perfect. If it's a good beer, that's a perfect sponsor for this podcast. But if it's something that, if it's, I don't know a good example, but
Maybelline.
Yeah, right. I mean, we probably don't need a mascara sponsor. I mean, that's probably not going to do a whole lot for us. So,
we could use it probably,
but we're not going to use it.
Right.
I could use some CBD hand cream if anybody wants to hook that up. It's cold down here right now. It's a balmy 41, Judd. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit with AD.
Telling you.
Is it still good and cold at your house?
It's miserable. I mean, it's just absolutely miserable. If it ain't COVID, keeping the kids out of school, it's the dang snow. And I said it when Austin was on here. I think her last notable snow, was 6 years ago. We just don't see it. I mean, parts of North Arkansas get some snow a little more frequently, but we just don't get it here, and so it's an event when it does happen. I mean, everything closes down. There ain't no bread, there ain't no eggs. I mean, that whole thing,
out.
So freaking out.
And the kids,
I think we bought groceries 7 times last week in preparing for it. And I'm like, do we really need to go buy groceries again? I swear I just bought them. But yeah, I mean,
it's like, how much y'all plan on eating?
I know it's insane, but the kids enjoy it. Obviously, I mean, I get that whole deal, but
yeah, I saw the pictures.
You know me, I just don't like it at all.
I got pictures. Kate sent me and Cody some pictures yesterday because I tried to text you and I assumed you were doing stuff, didn't have your phone, so I side texted her. It was like, send me some pictures and videos if y'all do anything fun today, because I mean, you don't, like I said, you don't know when you're going to get that amount again. Because same like, down here,
hopefully
definitely not.
Never.
But where I grew up, it's the same thing. We get a little bit neglected growing up, like every 10 years would be a little dusting or so. But it wasn't crazy. But
right.
But she sent me some, and all the pictures, everybody's smiling, so happy. South's full gear. Ken looking like she's so happy. Everybody's happy. And then she puts over to you, and you look like Ebenezer Scrooge over there. You're cold. You're almost blue. Smile. And I'm like, get that boy some mittens, for God's sakes. He looks miserable. I knew you were just sucking it up, being a good dad, though. You had him out, pulling him on the 4-wheeler and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, we kind of, like even stores down here, like we don't really have. I mean, because you grew up in the same type place I live. I mean, you can't just go buy sleds and stuff. You know what I mean? Like nobody sells them.
Yeah, right.
It's like
trash can.
So we're just trying to.
Something.
We've got these makeshift. Yeah, we've got like these makeshift things. Like last time it snowed and we pulled the kids. We used the top of a sandbox cover.
Yeah.
A turtle.
Yeah.
A sandbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this time I just found a couple of things to.
You could only imagine
to put a.
You could only imagine the shit Big Jim found to drag me and Jamie around Lake Martin on. Could you imagine?
Car hoods and stuff.
Literally, ask my brother next time you talk to him, did we not have a car hood we slid on one time? He pulled us on.
I'm sure.
And no 4-wheeler. We're talking about being pulled behind the Ford Ranger. That's how, wow. So I get it. Yeah, like you said, there's nowhere. I mean, you could get like maybe some skis for water skiing maybe or something, but they just don't have much of that. And even that, you'd have to go somewhere. But you're not going to get that at the store right by your house or anything.
No. So it's let's see. I think I said it earlier. I didn't even measure it. Because I don't care.
But a ton, though, but not a dusting, like a full-blown snow. Plenty. I mean, like, you step on
No, we got like, I would say about 6-8 inches,
right.
And we're supposed to get another 8 or something tonight. I mean, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen people posting since we talked about it, about being cold, and they're like, y'all don't even know, and they're sending us temperatures and snow accumulations all over the country and stuff, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
No, I mean, we're wusses. I know.
It. Well, we're just not prepared.
That's why I live in the South.
Yeah, we talked about it off air. I mean, on the phone yesterday. It's like we're just not prepared for that. I was telling, because we wanted to go do this show, but I mean, just no way to do it in this. I said, Nashville's more prepared now. It wasn't as much when I first moved to Nashville. I remember it was a little. They would run out of salt and things like that, but now Nashville's pretty much ready. And if it is bad, they'll get it cleaned up and they've got the right stuff. But you go down to Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, their salt truck is a guy riding around in a truck throwing out salt out the window. I mean, they just don't have it. I mean, why would you? You never need it. So
right, that's the way we are.
And so hopefully after this next wave comes through, it'll be over, and then we got spring around the corner, and hopefully we'll get some good weather and get to enjoy it. I know I talked about it, and
no doubt
got a lot of, and I want to get to a mailbag of some stuff here in a minute, but I got a lot of questions, everybody chiming in on the Yellowstone. So, yes, I have started Yellowstone. I'm on about episode 5 or 6. Ryan Bingham just showed up. Big Ryan Bingham fan, have been for a long time. Somebody already spoiled it for me, though, and he ain't going to be around long. I already know that, but it's fine. Big Ryan Bingham fan. Enjoy the show so far. But I got to be honest, I'm not just like, can't stop. It's not that it a little bit to me, it's almost like everybody's so crooked. People it's talking about who their favorite character is. So far, my favorite character is the little boy Tate, because he's the only one that's not a damn criminal or crazy or both or mean or wrong in some fashion. He's the only innocent one in the bunch, him and his cousins. That's the only and maybe the mom. But wow. So anyway, yeah.
So this is your this okay.
Go
so
ahead.
The knock on it from your perspective is that they're crooked. This is coming from the same guy who told me I had to watch The Crown.
Well,
there ain't nothing more crooked than that.
Well, that's historic. That's real stuff that happens, though. That's learning from our history. But no, I'm not.
That's worse. That it's real. They're really crooked. The other ones are just playing characters.
Well, and I'm not saying I don't like it because I do. But it hadn't really like the music.
We oversold it. Maybe.
Well, maybe. And see, I've had some spoilers too. Thanks, Cody in Texas. I know that the music's going to get better in the next season because as of now, Whiskey Myers has been on there and played a little bit. Which I love Whiskey Myers, but just like a little snippet there, and Bingham's played like 2/3 of a song that was killer. But besides that, I thought the music was a big part of it, and I know it is going to be. I know it's going to get in there. And yeah, awesome is it? The dude's got a helicopter. He lives on the biggest ranch ever.
I mean, I want to be him when I grow up.
But his kids are screwed up. You know what I mean? He's in this, battle of, morality and ethics from history. And then there's the tribe, but you see everybody's side. It's like, I'm almost like, I just got to watch comedy these days. Cause there's enough tragedy in the world. I don't need nothing bad. I don't want to watch anything sad. But I'm going to watch it. It's good. I know. It's kind of like Bloodlines. Once you kind of get in, you kind of want to know who's doing what and how it's going to turn out. So it's hooked in there.
What do you think of Beth?
Beth, man, nut job, huh? I think I dated a few Beths back in the day.
Yep.
My gosh.
The whole thing. She's so badass in the show to me.
Took me a while.
Her one-liners are great.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. And she's just
tough as nails,
ruthless.
What'd you think about that trough scene?
That was nice.
You got that? Yeah.
Tell you the one that stuck in my mind, because here I am on Mr. Sad note, is her mom. When her mom's dying there with a broke back and she's still mean to the daughter. That was just like the worst. God, I can't get over that. I'm just like, what's the mom's problem? Just hate one of the kids. That'd be like you just hating Klein. For some reason, you just hate Klein. Don't want. I just couldn't imagine. This mom just hated her daughter. It was like
she was jealous of her.
I don't know. I just breaks my heart for everybody. But anyway.
Well. Y'all can still scream at him because he's still wrong.
Yeah, I know.
He's finally watched it, but he's not in love with it like we are.
It's got a couple more seasons to grow on me.
Maybe, the more you watch.
One thing I wonder too, how many people can, if you ever want to kill somebody, just go out to Montana and Wyoming and kill them, because nobody will ever come find you or look for you. Just dead bodies.
Take them to the train station.
Yeah, right. Just everybody's just dead everywhere. There really no cops. The cops are all in on it. It's crazy. It's the Wild Wild West. I tell you what,
it really is.
It is.
Yeah.
And you could, it's good because you could really see that happening. You could see all of this really happening. It's believable. Like, it's like.
Yeah, I don't know if it does, but it's conceivable.
Chances of probability are pretty high. I bet it's something.
It reminds me a little bit of like the mob.
Yeah.
In a different, cowboy mob in a way.
Right.
And
the tribe mob. But it's like battle of survival for everybody. It's crazy. It's great. And I started it last night, and I literally watched 4 episodes last night and 1 today, maybe. And I was just I wasn't in the right zone either, I don't think, to watch it. I was just kind of like, I need to start watching some of these instead of, getting my mind right and getting in the right zone, the right food and the right drink and all that fun stuff. But anyway, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm going to continue watching. So yes, I'm on the Yellowstone train. I haven't watched Crown in a while, so nothing to report back on that. Hadn't seen that in a while.
We just started season 2. I think we're on first, second, third episode of season 2. And I really like it, but it kind of the way Yellowstone is to you so far, it like pisses me off because I'm going, this don't make any sense at all. Like, why? You don't have to do this just because it's the way it's always been done.
That's kind of where I feel about Yellowstone.
Drives me crazy. Kate goes, can you just shut up and watch the show? I'm like, it just drives me insane. I just cuss through the whole thing going, what?
It's kind of where I'm at. Some of it's just so unbelievable, unrealistic to me. I'm just like, that would never go down that way. Some stuff, I don't know.
Well, I told Kate, like, I get it, and I think there's something cool to me about, sticking with, old school traditions. I mean, obviously, but I told her the other day we were watching, I'm like, the whole thing is kind of just silly, really.
Oh, it really is.
To me, it's kind of just silly.
Yeah.
Like,
it used to be something, but it's not anymore. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And
when I don't want to spoil things for people, but it's been out for a while, but like for instance, like when the mother is bowing to her daughter, I realize she's bowing to the crown, but it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm not going to bow to my child. I'm sorry. It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. It's about as,
you know what I mean?
It's about as ridiculous as Ryan Bingham go ahead and getting the brand on his own will that after meeting these dudes one day before that. Now, I've been in some rough spots, but it's going to take a little more than one day to woo me and your gang. So
that's a good point.
And but I like it. Of course I like it, man. The helicopter reminds me of some of my old school TV fans out there. Reminds me of Airwolf. You remember that show back in the day, Airwolf? I
don't.
Man, there was a show back in the 80s called Airwolf. Jan Michael Vincent was the lead character, and Ernest Borgnine was his gunner on this helicopter, and it was black, and it was like Knight Rider but a helicopter.
Wow.
So it was just the baddest helicopter there ever was. But they were like these vigilantes that they would just do good and help people who needed help. But it's called Airwolf. Pretty
I had to look that
boss
up.
show from back in the day. Yeah, Jan Michael Vincent. I think that was his name.
I'm not familiar with that.
So, yeah, I think that part's awesome. And the horses, too. I always like when we go to rodeo. I didn't grow up around horses, but I just think they're beautiful and just the whole way they respond and interact with humans. And that show, it's like, man, those people they have working those horses on that set of that show is – that's probably the best of the world, I'm sure.
It got it. I mean, yeah. And, it's funny. I learned, and I didn't know this, but I learned, actually, we just posted something about it 5 years ago. This is the 5-year anniversary of You Look Like I Need a Drink coming out or something like that.
Yep.
Or going #1 or whatever. And I learned, because I rode a horse in a lot of that video, a lot of those horses are trained specifically for movies or shows or whatever. That's what I learned on that set. We shot that out in L.A., just outside of L.A., and that horse had been in all kinds of stuff, which I thought was kind of neat. It makes sense, but I never really thought about it.
Yeah, it's not just a good horse; it's a horse specifically trained to do that. kind of stuff.
And they don't probably breed them for that, but they try to go back to the same ones over and over, I guess, because they're used to the people all being around and cameras and chaos kind of, or whatever. So
yeah, probably like the ones they use. Probably like the ones they use in New Orleans and stuff. Well, in New Orleans and stuff too, that you're trained to be around people, so they're always they're like police horse in cities.
Police horses,
they got to be chill because all the people around them.
Yeah, they got to have a certain mentality and a certain maybe it is a certain bloodline. I don't know.
Yeah,
that'd be curious. I would be curious to find that out.
Yeah, I would dare bet so. I'm sure, to some extent, for sure. I didn't know what else you wanted to jump on today, but we had a bunch of questions and comments and some shout outs and all kinds of cool stuff on social media. I didn't know if you want to jump on and knock out a few of those. And I forgot to ask Austin. We're going to remember this on his next one, though. But I meant to tell him, and I'm going to put it on this podcast, even though he's not on here anymore. But I meant to tell him that the #1 song. Remember last year we were doing for our guests the #1 song on the day they were born, and as everyone, as everyone knows,
I forgot about that.
Mine is Conway Twitty's "I May Never Get to Heaven," and Justin's is "Alabama Roll On 18-Wheeler," and Austin Dillon's. You want to guess his? Just he's April 27th, 90. You want to guess what his song of the year was or song of the week was? In April 27th of 90. Oh man, he's a legend. We've met him a few times.
I was going to guess The Dance, but that may have been a little later.
We're going to go with Hard Rock Bottom of Your Heart by Mr. Randy Travis.
Ah, nice.
Good to remember.
I knew it was one of those 90s, 80s, the guys that started in the 80s. And
About that same era. Yeah, great tune, though.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to remember to do that next with our next guest, which will be next week. We've got Miss Lainey Wilson coming on to talk about her new album. So,
oh, yeah, nice.
There you go.
That'll
for
be
that.
Good. It's what's going to be funny is if we're still doing this, 20 years from now, and somebody's born on one of my hits.
Yeah. Yeah, how about that? Well, hey,
we're gonna feel old.
Hey, it couldn't be that far off, really. I mean, theoretically,
well, you think about it. I had my first hit.
What's your first song you put on the radio?
08.
Or your first number one? It would be the number
08.
one.
It came out in 08. It would have went number one in 09. But somebody would be.
So that's 12 now.
Yeah.
So
I mean.
Mason Ramsey.
Mason
Ramsey could have been born on your song.
True. Yeah,
I mean, he's probably a little older than that now, but yeah. So in a couple years, for sure. Wow, that's a trip. Didn't even think about that. But yeah, so I got a couple shout outs here real quick. Want to say big shout out to Ryan Corneliuson from your brother, WooPig Hunter 93 on Instagram. He told me to give you a shout out. Said you listen all the time. You're a big fan of JM.
Nice.
Mr. Tim Taylor from your wife Esther on Instagram said his favorite song is Guns. So
nice. Thank you.
Yep. There we go, Ryan and Tim. Let's see what we got on here. This was us talking about repurposing our stuff last week, and Laura B. said she's listening to the discussion on the Justin Moore podcast about saving things and repurposing them. I keep my son's jerseys and make them blankets for their 18th birthdays. I use my parents' shirts to make one for me, too.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I saw she sent some pictures, too. It was pretty cool.
That's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. I got a few of these like this. This comes from Dustin Burke, JR and JM. No joke, that same injury happened at our house this summer with my 6-year-old. Swam in her cast and all like it. Nothing happened. The doctor called it a trampoline fracture and said if you're going to keep it, one kid at a time.
Wow.
So
a trampoline fracture.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just a term they call it because
I guess
it's so
it makes
common.
me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, so like doctor's orders,
about my parenting.
One at a time. And Ella, stay around if you're in charge. You got to stay around.
That's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but
yeah, yeah. It's not. It happens. Let's see. This is somebody saying. This is Mark White telling us. Coach Mark White here on Twitter saying, JR, please tell JM that Bella Vitano cheese is the best. Thanks for the recommendation. I guess that's that cheese y'all get. I guess you gave him the heads up.
It's really good. Yeah, absolutely. It's the espresso dusted one. I think
that's the heat.
Yep. So, and they also have it they've got different toppings. Like I think there's like a Merlot one or something. There's a few different ones, but we always get the same. Yeah, same one with espresso.
Nice. Yeah, I was just telling Sharice there's these goat cheeses we get that come in these little rolls, and I like them all. One's honey, one's like blueberry, but there's one that's cinnamon. I thought it was going to be good. That's the one I really just don't like. I can do without the cinnamon. Maybe in the fall one
That's
time.
An interesting combination.
Yeah, it's just
cinnamon
it was on,
cheese.
It had the clearance. I call it clarence. They got the clearance sign up under it. $1 off. You know me. I was like, oh hell, I'll try it. I got to try it for $1 off. You know me. I'm frugal over here. See to match my coupon I got here.
While you're reading through those, I may have told this last week or the week before. I forget though. I was reminded when you were reading through some of these and saying I'm listening to the podcast or whatever. Did I tell you that I went to Kroger to get gas the other day? You know, they have pumps out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Put the telephone number in, get your discount.
Yeah. So I go, and then I was going to go buy a can of snuff at it's like a little standalone type deal. And the guy that is working inside, he goes, I'm listening to your podcast right now.
Really?
Did I tell you that?
No. That's funny.
I was like, man, that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So anyway, it just happens more and more people. I mean, literally, they'll be like, I'm listening to it right now, or I've listened to it yet, whatever. Yeah. It's pretty neat. Though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I forget the guy's name. I should have gotten it, but thank you. If you're listening at the Kroger gas pump
Yes,
right now.
thank
to
you,
this.
brother.
I appreciate it.
Heck yeah, rock on, brother. I love Kroger. I get gas there a lot. There's one by Grand's house. There's a couple in Nashville I stop at. Yes, thank you, brother. And everybody spread the word, man. Help. I have a note somewhere. I'm glad you led into that. Everybody spread the word on this, man. We're back up in the charts. We want to keep rocking. So everybody tell your friends. If you're around somebody and they don't even listen to podcasts, get their phone and go into their Purple Podcast app and go subscribe to this podcast on their phone. It won't hurt them. It don't
break
matter.
into their phone.
Yeah, or if it's family
Free.
or friends, just do it. If you got kids, whatever, put it on there. It don't matter. If they ever find it, it's fine. They'll listen to it. They'll love it. If not, it helps us a ton. So do that and spread the word. If you know anybody that doesn't listen to podcasts, or if they do, or they're just a fan of country music or wrestling or NASCAR or anything else we talk about, tell them to
Wrestling.
Tell them to
Not wrestling. Wrestling.
wrestling. So tell them to like it, or tell them to subscribe to the podcast. Tell them to go check it out at least. And you guys remember to click like and subscribe and hit the notification button, all that good stuff. This is on YouTube every week now, the same time it comes out on air on audio. So thank you, Cody, for making sure that happens every week. So y'all can make sure you can watch it as soon as you listen to it. So yeah, I want to say shout out to everybody who does that already and continue to. And yeah, if you get somebody's phone, go on there on all the links and subscribe them to our podcast. Let's see. I had a couple other here. We got one from Dougie's Mullet. Might be one of the best Instagram names I've ever seen. Dougie's Mullet. And this goes back to what we were just talking about a minute ago. We want to know y'all's favorite character on Yellowstone. He said mine is Casey. You got a favorite character so far?
Beth. I mean, either Beth or I really like John Dutton too. He's just, I don't know. I think I want every outfit he wears.
Yeah. Definitely dresses sharp. All of them dress sharp.
I mean, yeah, they do. I mean, they really do.
The ranch hands, all the guys that work for him, everybody's dressed sharp.
But I do like Beth. I mean, obviously she's a good-looking woman, but just her one-liners and how badass she is, the character, I just think is pretty awesome.
And I'm sure she's nothing like that in real person, so she's doing a really good job acting.
Oh, I'm sure she's not.
She probably has she's probably British or something.
I think she is, actually. That's what
remember
I was
we were talking about somebody one
time,
and we were like, that person doing that southern act, that girl's from Britain. From where? The blonde girl in that show we used to watch.
It's crazy. I mean, that shows how talented those people are, you know. I've done 20 music videos and acted in some of them. It's not easy.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They make it look so easy, but it's really not.
Dude,
So.
should we I forgot one. I think we purposely block this out every now and then. A television show. If you're all caught up, you've watched everything that's trending right now. There's one Justin and I watched a few years ago. It was called, was it Rectify?
Oh, my gosh.
Y'all go watch.
Was that it?
I think it was Rectify. It was on Netflix.
It's the most ridiculous.
Y'all go back and watch.
And it was highly regarded. I mean, like
we literally just picked out of the top 10
critics.
Yeah,
and we were like, all right, we'll try this, and I mean, just disturbing. I mean, what was the butthole thing?
The beehole.
You would have to set this.
Yeah, no,
you would have to set this up because you'll do a better job than me. But he's like.
We can't even tell them, Judge. We'll just let them go. Y'all go watch Rectify.
I don't know.
Prepare
It was
to be
like
shocked.
He planted a plant in the dude's butthole or something ridiculous. So he's like, he put dirt in my beehole.
Coffee.
Or something. Coffee. Okay.
He went over there and choked him out. That was to embarrass him. Anyway, it was, yeah.
Yeah, just to humiliate him, he put coffee grinds in this guy's butthole. This is so ridiculous.
It sounds so ridiculous.
I'm telling y'all.
But in the movie.
It sounds ridiculous, but it really is ridiculous. This is not us not articulating it well. It really is this ridiculous.
And it was like the number 4 or 5 like trending or top rated television show on the Netflix a couple years ago when we started watching on the bus.
Finally, you and I were just like, I can't take this no more. It's so weird.
Like
I mean, like
stuff, man. It kind of hooked you in for a second, but it was just like because Amantha. Where I was going with that is Amantha. Amantha is like a Beth.
Okay, right. Which is the most ridiculous name ever. Amantha?
Amantha, yeah.
Why didn't they make it Amanda?
Or Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
No offense,
if your name is Amantha out there, no offense. I've just never heard it before.
And this girl just...
it is a lot more original than Justin.
Yeah, no doubt. Justin. It's my brother Justin.
Yeah, we're both Justins. we were both born in the 80s. That's what you...
That's it.
You were
79, same
80?
thing. 79, but
Yeah,
same thing. Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, every boy was named Justin or Jason. It feels.
But yeah, if you've watched everything and don't mind being disturbed, go check out. And it's actually like good acting. That's where it goes from. The blonde girl, the guy who had coffee dribbling out his BO, his wife in the movie. Remember, we looked it up. She was Australian or something, but she was playing this
Australian
Georgia girl and killed him. It's a movie based in the South. This guy gets.
It's a show.
It's a series.
It's
a series, a couple of seasons. But the guy gets accused of something young in life in prison and gets out back in this small town. And, oh, man, it's crazy. So, anyway, rectify if you want to lose your mind. But
that's a blast from the past.
Anyway, but my favorite...
What we were trying to do, actually, what it was we were trying to find something to watch on the road on the bus that our wives wouldn't want to watch.
That's exactly what it was.
Because we both of us try to watch shows with our wives when we're home, and we don't watch them when we're not together or whatever. So we were like, we'll just find something just to pass the time, and it grew more and more ridiculous. So, needless to say, didn't finish that series.
Yeah, and back to the question. Yeah, my favorite character, like I said earlier, was Tate, the little boy, because he's not the only one that hadn't offended me in some way so far. Let's see.
His mom's a good person.
Yes, she is. She's
a good person.
Yeah, she even turned down the nice salary gig to go back and teach the kids. I get it. Stick to your guns. Let's see here. These are a couple of random ones here. Wallace Fan 2 says, Justin, would you rather wear a cowboy hat or a baseball cap?
I mean, depends on what I'm doing, but I wear a baseball cap more often, but... You know, a lot of times if I'm hunting, I wear a cowboy hat.
Yep.
If I'm on a tractor, I wear a cowboy hat, or obviously on stage. But most times it's baseball cap.
Yep, I'm kind of the same. If I put the cowboy hat on, it's time to take care of business in some level of something, whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Next question here.
You should wear it at the Floribama.
I do. There's a couple of bouncers that do. When Terry plays, I wear it. When you play there, I will. Oh yeah. Okay. You gotta save a little something for them special nights. You know what I mean? I can't give it to them every night. They start expecting it. You know. Anyway, so Mother of Pearl 3 says, super excited for new season. Justin, what's your favorite candy of all time?
This is gonna be a disappointing answer. I don't eat candy.
I was gonna say I don't really even know.
I don't really
gum.
I don't really like sweets. If I had to pick one, probably Reese's Pieces.
That's a good one.
But I couldn't tell you the last time I ate candy. Like I'm talking decades probably.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. I like chocolate. I like dark chocolate a little bit with some almonds or something, but I'm not really, gum maybe. If I want something like that, I'll just grab some gum or something right in the truck. All right, got a couple of other questions here, and they kind of all pertain to some of our segments that we do at the end of the podcast as far as our shockers and Mount Rushmores and things like that. So I figure we just fire some of them off and chime in, and we can talk about ours during that and do it all together here with some of our listeners out there. Let's see. Here we got the first one is Plumbing Ontario, our plumber buddy from up in Oconee says, my guilty pleasures would be MTV reality shows and FGL. LOL. Guilty pleasure. I can see that. I can see that. Funny. Let's see. Next one I got here is listen to the podcast, enjoyable again. I listen to it on Apple Podcast while at work. My guilty pleasure, this is from Red Blood American, by the way, on Twitter, says, my guilty pleasure, Golden Girls. Those old ladies trip me out. Clean comedy. Golden Girls.
I love it.
Yeah, I like Golden Girls. I could watch that. That's one of Reese's. she watched Golden Girls all day. But I like Golden Girls too.
Yeah, Kate loves it too.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really. I wouldn't even consider that a guilty pleasure. I don't think anybody.
No, it's just good.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
you said, it's just good, clean comedy.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could say they didn't want to listen to Golden Girls. Let's see. Here we go. Aaron, I'm a Rockies fan, says I've been a JM fan for years. I heard on the episode that he enjoys Hallmark movies. I thought I'd give it a go. Well, damn it. Now I love them too. I'm sure I'll get made fun of watching those. So you've made a believer out of the Hallmark movies there.
I do. I don't know what I guess it mainly is around Christmas. And they're all the exact same, but for some reason I find myself enjoying them.
Let's see here. All right, and here goes. We'll do this one, and then we'll go. We'll do the shocker of the week. This is from our old buddy Kyle Lawler, our NASCAR buddy. I'm sure he enjoyed Austin on a Day. He said, "My list of shockers: music, Taylor Swift, older stuff; Katy Perry, Eminem, again, older stuff; TV, movies, Law and Order, SUV, Frozen with my 2-year-old daughter, and Say Yes to the Dress before our wedding and usually intoxicated." So. That's Kyle's on that one.
Usually intoxicated. That's funny.
I get it. That's all I had on that for that today. So there's the mailbag for the day. So now we're going to go straight into that with one of our newest segments here on the Justin Moore podcast, the shocker of the week. What you got for us, shocker man?
Tell me if you don't like this. But I was just thinking about this earlier because my wife and I were having a conversation which we've had 100 times or more. And she just does not understand it. So I thought this week's shocker could be unpopular opinion, basically. Like, everybody loves this, but I hate it. Or vice versa.
Right. Or maybe just don't love it as much as everybody else, like Yellowstone with me.
Right. Okay, so if you like that idea, we'll run with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so she doesn't get it. It's one of her favorite shows of all time. I don't think it's funny at all. Like, hate the show. Hate all the characters on the show. Just don't get it at all. Seinfeld. And I am so alone here. I know.
I'm not,
everybody loves it. I can't stand it.
I don't hate it, but I don't stop on it. I've never watched it. I
don't think Jerry Seinfeld's ever said anything that's made me laugh. I didn't like Jason Alexander's character. I didn't like the crazy guy.
Yeah, Kramer.
Whatever. What's his name? Kramer. I didn't think he was funny. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could watch some, but but we're in the minority for certain.
Kate is just perplexed by it. She's like, I don't know how you don't think this is funny.
Yeah. What about Friends?
And I'm like, I just don't get any of it.
What about Friends?
Whatever.
Never watched
Whatever.
it. I never watched it. I don't know what I was busy. I say that about a lot of stuff. A lot of times when shows were happening, if I was an adult, I was doing other stuff. I guess a lot of those because I never watched.
Well, I mean, really, if you think about it, when Friends was big, was that late 90s, early 2000s?
Yep.
I guess.
Yep.
I mean, we were in high school playing ball, and if we weren't, playing ball, we were watching sports at home on TV. I mean, I just wasn't.
Yeah, and then when I went to
mind frame to.
Yeah, I started college in '98, so from then I was partying, and then went on the road after that. But I mean, I watched some shows, but I would never. I could remember one my brother turned me on to that ended up being one of my favorite all times was Scrubs. That was a funny show. Did you ever watch that?
I never watched that either.
Oh man, Jamie, and it had already been like off the air by the time I started watching it, like 10 seasons or 8 seasons or whatever. And then when Jamie was living with me, I think in Nashville, he and I would he'd turn me on to it, and we watched a ton of them. But man, it was so funny. It had me rolling. But it was after the fact because a lot of time that's the thing too with our schedule. If you're a road guy, it's gonna be hard to catch the same show every day of a week, especially if it's on a Wednesday through Saturday. Or Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a shot on a Monday or Tuesday show, but even then, unless you do.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have one that you hate that everybody loves, or vice versa.
Well, Yellowstone kinda.
I just sprung that on you.
Yeah. No. Yellowstone kinda. I guess. Let me think. Another one.
You crack while you're thinking. You crack me up because this is a repetitive thing with you, like. There's a show on True TV called Impractical Jokers, and I watch it. My wife and I watch it. We've watched it ever since it started, and we've watched every one of them rerun 100 times. And I laugh just as hard as the first time I saw it. But there's one guy on there, and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to hurt his feelings if he were maybe to come on the podcast. But JR always says he don't think he's a good person. And I'm like, what makes you think he's a bad person? It's this. If you don't know, go check this show out. It's called Impractical Jokers. It's hilarious. It's 4 friends that have been friends from high school, and they're our age or a little older now.
They're all comedians.
And they're comedians. They basically just prank each other. I'm sure everyone listening knows the show, but just for those out there who may not.
Yeah, it's too funny.
It's hysterical.
It's on
it's
on that one
it's
channel
hysterical.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Whatever channel.
so go check it out. But there's one on there, JR. I'm like, what? So my point is, you don't like Yellowstone because you think they're bad people.
You want to know? You want to know another one that's just like it? You want to know another one that's
you
just?
always have these theories on these people that are just not good.
Yeah, and some of these are actors, so they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I still don't like it. And as a human, I'm sure they're great people. You know, another one that's like that. That I think about when that comes up because I am that way, is Melissa McCarthy in that movie where she's going across the country, like she kidnapped this guy or the car or something, and she's just.
I know what you're talking about.
What's that movie called? And she makes it just miserable on him the whole time. And I'm just like, I don't think you should take anyone's life, but you should definitely hog tie her and leave her in a ditch somewhere. I think it was her and maybe was it
Jason Bateman?
Yeah, I think so. And she just made it so I don't know why I couldn't stand her in that movie. I just couldn't stand it. It wasn't funny to me. I think I quit watching it because I was like, I don't even want to see this woman do this anymore. It's like wasn't the hold up, the kidnap or something.
It wasn't Jason Bateman. It was the guy that plays Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. And it was called Due Date.
Yes, because he was trying to get across. Yes,
and he was trying to get home.
There was one rental car or something like that.
He was trying to get home to his wife because they were having a baby. It's a funny movie.
Yeah, and her really in that movie made me so mad because she was so she derailed everything so much. There was a couple people in Shameless like that too. I just thought, God, what an idiot! You need to be smarter than that. It just wore on me.
It's just funny to me because I see.
I
this
take
being
it so personal. Why do I take it so personal? I don't get it.
It's just a show or a movie.
I get it. I get worked up about it. I don't know. I guess it's the Alabama in me. I don't know. But yeah, I'm loosening up on Yellowstone. I guess you see enough people get off to, it softens you up.
Take a couple of shots of Patron and you'll enjoy it more maybe.
I actually got some Patron in the fridge chilling. Hey, but I've been enjoying this all day IPA from Founders Brewery. I can tell you that for sure. I'm going to get another one here in just a second. Tasty brew. I'm going to say thank you to those guys again. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sure. We like JR said, we are rather particular about who we choose to team with, and so really thrilled to be able to work with a company that we genuinely like and respect and have, we enjoy their product.
No doubt.
But
not too much.
On that,
drink responsible.
No, on that same front, we'll have some news also for other sponsors and folks we're teaming up with for not only the podcast but touring upcoming too. So excited about that. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I didn't know for Mount Rushmore this week. I thought about we could do. I mean, it's the layup, but the NASCAR or the racing of stock car racing. Mount Rushmore.
You know what's so funny about it? It almost seems like every time you do a Mount Rushmore, there's only really a question about like one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's obvious that these guys or gals or whatever belong, but I mean, you got to put Earnhardt and Petty on there for sure, right?
Yeah, it'd have to. The king.
I mean, and then as much as I'm not a fan of him just because I come from the era of NASCAR where it's just like, any other sports team you root for, you can't stand somebody else. And it has nothing to do with him personally.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's just the rival, so you hate the rival, yeah.
Right. So Jimmy Johnson's got to be there. I mean, he's won more than anybody.
Yep.
And then I don't know. Maybe you go old school with like a Kel Yarborough or do you? I don't know. We should ask Austin.
I know. I didn't have that. I didn't have the notes prepared properly today. Yeah. And then what's the legend Junior Johnson? And I mean, some of those early guys who first, I'm sure there's some of those old school guys that would be like the Hank Williams of that.
Right.
The drivers would all be like, well, if it wasn't for so and so, I mean, he was really the first one.
We should get we've got a lot of contacts with NASCAR. We should get somebody else on. Hell, I hadn't talked to Carl Edwards in a long time. Maybe we get him on. He actually was in my Beta Hook video, and we became friends.
Yeah.
And he retired a few years ago, but we get a guy like him on and ask him too.
Yeah, you guys out there in podcast land, y'all send us in use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast and send us in who you think the NASCAR Mount Rushmore would be and who we're missing off this list and why and all that stuff.
I mean, it's probably somebody obvious we're not thinking of.
Yeah.
But we're not Googling it. We're just going off the top of our
I just
head
can't,
here.
in my mind, keep thinking of Richard Petty standing outside his car looking so awesome in a cowboy.
Because he looks so awesome.
So awesome in a cowboy hat, having a cig, got a pearl snap on.
And he always had the cool cowboy hat with the feathers.
Yes. He raced.
Kind of looks like the one
and he would race
Terry wears.
Yeah. Yeah, he would wear like a pearl snap racing in a pearl snap.
Looked like Pawpaw.
Yeah,
he looked like Pawpaw 30 years ago.
My granddad Pedro wore that same
He don't
outfit.
look any different.
No, leather belt buckle, probably some bling. The king, absolutely. Sunglasses on, just pocket up here, got him some Winstons in it. I mean, rocking bell bottoms.
Who else we should ask about this is a former guest who covered NASCAR forever. A buddy of ours,
Marty.
Yeah, Smith.
He would know for sure.
Because for sure. He knows more about NASCAR than anybody. I remember telling him one time, right after Junior was becoming huge, and I think maybe his dad had died at the time, and I'd say, man, I don't know if he had swapped teams or something like that. He went from DEI maybe to Hendrick or something. All the people out there are screaming at me right now, but send us in if I'm wrong on this. But he went through a struggle for a couple of years, if memory serves me correctly, and I'm like, man, can he just not drive? He goes, no, he can flat drive. And he straightened me up real quick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Point being, he knows way more than
he would be. He would be literally. He would probably be one of the definitive, experts on that subject. Like if you were on.
Oh yeah, he was.
If you were on Antiques Roadshow.
That's what he did before.
Yeah.
That's what he did before college football.
Yeah, he was a biographer for all that stuff, basically, and things. So yeah, he would.
Right.
He
became really good. But he also tells me on Jimmy Johnson too, because that's one of his great friends, and he's like, "Dude, you would love him." And I'm like, "I know, but that's what NASCAR wants. They want the passion."
Yeah.
From fans that you hate this guy, you love this guy, So I just went against the grain because I've always been an underdog guy. Like some people like seeing the Tom Bradys and the Jimmy Johnsons do things that never have been done and win at a crazy clip. I'm always an underdog guy. So I just always kind of went against the grain and picked somebody else that nobody thought was going to do anything.
Yeah.
I
kind of went with the colors and the numbers and what looked cool. Serious as a heart attack. I was a big Junior fan. Budweiser was a sponsor.
Red Budweiser.
Yeah, Budweiser. That was a sponsor. I mean, yeah, perfect. That's my guy. But no, I like, Rich, like I said, back in the day, Granddad, and then when he had me really into it when I was younger, and then I, like everything else, I kind of lost paying attention. But I always had my ones I pulled for. But so yeah, I think we should do that. Maybe we'll get Marty on here, do a recap, see what he's been up to since last time, and he could be our definitive answer on that. But you guys send stuff in, and then we'll use that when we talk to Marty.
Yeah, I meant to ask Austin while we had him on about this, but like he said, maybe he can come back on quarterly or something like that this year. But I meant to ask him, first race I ever watched all the way through was actually the race that Earnhardt died. and I was hooked from then. And the 20th anniversary of that was this past weekend. And so I meant to get Austin's perspective on it, because obviously Austin drives the 3-car, just kind of the importance of that number and all that, but I forgot to. But that's a reason to get him back.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. I had wanted to do a quick little This Week in Country Music, our segment here. I had a few just quick ones here I want to drop on that. I know we've gone a while. We need to get out of here. We've got stuff to keep rocking, get this to you guys on time. But I want to say in 1969, George Jones and Tammy Wynette were married in Ringgold, Georgia. They told others their marriage was in 1968. The first couple of country sweethearts, and the president and first lady of country music, some of the nicknames they had.
How long were they married?
Not that long, I don't think, but they were together.
Maybe 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, but they stayed together, and came back and sang together and worked together again.
And they had a kid together, didn't they?
Yes, Georgette.
A daughter.
Yeah, Georgette. And but they had a place down in Florida. He was trying to make a big country music village down in Florida even back then. I've seen some old videos when they were together. And
I knew I loved him.
Yeah, he is. I mean, you that might be your guy, Thunderhead. Yeah, you're on the Ranger instead of the lawnmower. This week in 1971, Lynn Anderson was number 1 on the country music album charts with Rose Garden. Classic song.
I never promised you a rose garden.
Yep, that's it. She was number 1 in 1971. And then 2002, we know this one well, Thunderhead, because we've watched this a gajillion times. Hank Jr. made his first appearance on the Grand Ole Opry in more than 20 years, joining Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart to pay a tribute to the late Waylon Jennings, who had just died a few days earlier on February 13th, for more than an hour on Nashville's Ryman Auditorium. There's that.
That was 02?
That was 02. And, we always talk about it because every time we go to the Ryman, there's that picture backstage of that, and we always point at it and go like, wow, don't you know that would have been.
Yeah.
And then we've watched the video.
I got to, you and I have discussed having the opportunity to meet a lot of our, hero is a strong word, but a lot of our idols in music, and in particular country music. And Waylon is one of the only ones that I just didn't get a chance to meet. I met George, I met Willie, and the list goes on and on. But I moved to Nashville in 2002, and that was he died just a few months after I moved there, I think. I don't remember specifically when he died, but I was like, and he was my favorite.
Yeah, it was February 13th. It was February 13th.
Okay. He was my favorite of
the
outlaw guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I just liked his music the best.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I got there later that year as well, and I never got to meet him. We never did. I did show with George Jones once, but I never did any with Waylon. But boy, yeah, same here. I think about that. I have listened to a lot of Waylon records. I can tell you that. I have listened to a lot of Waylon. So,
and I loved all those guys, but I just, for some reason, his sound and
that phaser on that guitar, man, and his voice.
Yeah, so unique, the guitar.
And he was he was the voice on Dukes of Hazzard, too. I mean, that was part of it, too.
I mean,
we were just used to.
And he rocked.
Yes.
But it was just, he rocked in a country way. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain.
He was so cool.
Like, it was
same thing. He
so
dressed cool,
like
acted
even
cool.
like the guitar,
wrapped in leather.
The leather.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, nobody had ever done, or at least that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
It's just super cool.
Yeah.
His whole vibe was cool.
No
he just
doubt.
looked like a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. I wish. Could you imagine going on the road? We watched those videos the other week. Could you imagine being out on the road with him in like the 70s, late 70s with Waylon? Could you imagine?
No.
I sent you that video yesterday, the one of David Allan Coe and then the one of Waylon. Boy.
I haven't gotten all the way through that video, but I'm probably 30, 40 minutes in. It's so awesome. He's driving his own bus. And
it's crazy.
Just awesome.
Doing these shows.
Just incredible. We should... Maybe we can get him on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows how to work Zoom and everything, but I know he texts.
Yeah.
I know he can text.
Yeah. What does he say when he texts you, Just? How does Coe, when he texts you, what does he do?
Yeah. So I know I know we got to get out of here because we've been on a long time, but I'll give you guys a little bit of a backstory. JR knows the story, but so I name checked him in Small Town USA, which we talked about earlier. It was my first big hit record in 08, 09, something like that. And we were in Kansas City going to play the Power and Light District, which we've played 100 times. Mm-hmm. Really cool venue, a lot of fun. But I get a phone call from a number that I don't recognize, and I don't answer if I don't have the number saved. And so I get a voicemail, and it's Justin, David Allan Coe. Just want to say thank you, son, for putting my name in your song, whatever. So I immediately call the number back, and I just assume it's one of my idiot buddies pulling a prank on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I go...
Corey.
He picks up, or my piano player. He picks up, and I go, who the hell is this? He goes, this is David Allan Coe. And I know immediately, I'm like, holy crap, this is really David Allan Coe. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I whatever. And so we formed a relationship where we text periodically or whatever. And every single time he texts you back, and it could be 2 a.m., it could be 10 a.m., I mean, whatever. And but every time he ends his text with DAC.
DAC, baby.
Like I know this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's still cool, you know.
So cool. So cool. He's one of the last of that
really
era
cool.
left. I mean, if any of the guys played in the 70s, and stuff, I mean, it's him and Willie Christopherson.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about it yesterday via text, but he's really, because of some of the craziness earlier in his career, and some of the sharp.
I mean, he was just a
language,
wild man. He was literally a wild.
Yeah.
I mean, he was crazy, probably clinically insane.
Yeah, but he is one of the most underrated songwriters of all time.
Yeah,
I mean, he's written some just flat out brilliant songs. I mean, Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone?
Yeah,
Is that line alone is just pure genius.
Yeah, his version and Tanya Tucker's. I mean, it's so good, and yeah, it's genius.
So, but
Reese, come here.
and he's
Say
written
hey.
so many great songs.
Reese, come say hey to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My illustrious wife, Reese, in the house.
We finally got you on here. What's up, Reese? How are you?
She can't hear you.
I can't.
Oh, sorry.
I said, hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just cold. It's frozen tundra
Oh,
up
it's
here
freezing.
in Arkansas.
The
Just-
Bama
I
flooded
hate it.
yesterday. It was crazy.
It's disgusting. The kids got out and played in it, so they liked it, but I don't like it at all. I'm ready for it to go away.
Aw. Y'all pictures were cute.
Thank you. So
Anyway, well, here's Lola too. Hey, Lola.
hopefully we'll get to see y'all soon. Bye.
Anyway, that was my wife.
We've been
Sharice.
trying to get her
I
on.
know. Yeah, we're and she's gonna come on as a full-time guest here, or not a full-time guest, but a full guest here at some point. We'll get her and Kate
Yeah,
on.
she got to come on and talk shit about you as much as Kate does for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming. She's got
It's your turn.
She's got a list, I'm sure. But anyway,
So-
all right. Thank you, Sugar. She had to come get Lola. Lola's back here whining. My love dog. She's out here. She lays with me so well until she hears the certain noise. She knows somebody's home, and she just can't stand it. So she's over here whining. So thank you, wifey, for getting.
Hey, before we get off here,
Yep.
JR, I just want to say again, thanks to our buddy Austin Dillon for coming
Yes.
on. That was it was awesome to catch up with him, and excited that maybe he'll be a returning guest.
Yes.
And, to be quite honest with you, there was so many things I wanted to ask him, like the Earnhardt question, but we're genuinely good friends, and so I kind of just got caught up in BSing with him, like we were on the phone or something. But thanks to him for coming on. And I don't know if it's my imagination, but the picture over your right shoulder, Charlie Daniels.
Yep.
If Austin grew his beard out a little longer, he kind of looks like Charlie Daniels in that picture.
He could.
And he does wear a cowboy hat.
He does. It's pretty big, too. He keeps his brim out. That's a good point. I can see that.
Anyway.
I can see it. Yeah, no doubt.
I never thought about that till today.
Yeah, he's got beard game strong. Beard game strong. AD, no doubt. 30.
Oh, yeah.
Strong beard. NASCAR driver. Smoke show wife. Beautiful little boy. I hear you, buddy. Rock and roll. Anyway, so speaking of other rock and roll, last one on my this week. Shout out to another one of our good friends we hadn't talked to in a while. I actually shot text out in towards her world to see if she wanted to come hop on the podcast with us some point this year. Is our friend Miss Miranda Lambert, celebrating her second wedding anniversary this week to her and Brendan. So congrats, you guys. I follow her on Instagram. It feels like she's been on a honeymoon ever since then. But I did see we're playing. I wanted to get to that too. We're playing Billy Bob's next month, March 27th. So everybody go get some tickets. Not a whole lot left, but go on Billy Bob's and get some tickets. Wearing the shirt today. We'll see y'all there at the Fort Worth Stockyards on the 27th. And I saw where Miranda's booking some dates there too. She's going to go play some shows in home state of Texas. I know she's fired up for that like we are to get to play somewhere. Also, you can see JM and the boys play doing a live stream that will be out March 19th. So everybody stay tuned next week and the week following. We'll have more info on that, but just want to put that out there that we will be doing a live stream on March 19th. So look out for that.
And you go to do you have the website that you go to get tickets for that?
I didn't. He didn't even.
I did a liner the other. It's like we'll tell you next week.
Yeah, we'll have all the info on that next week.
Because there is a website. Because I did a liner about it the other day, and I want to say it's like gigs.live or something.
Yeah,
we'll
make sure to put it in the show notes. So wherever you're watching this or listening to this, go down at the show notes, and we'll make sure to put that website on there as well. So JustinMooreMusic.com. Sure, you can find it on there. JRTheHandler.com. I'll make sure to get it on my page as well. Remember, if you're on the JustinMooreMusic.com site and you go to his merch page, you can receive a 10% discount when you use the code hashtag Justin Moore Podcast. So just like when you're interacting on social media, Justin Cole Moore, JR the Handler, use that hashtag Justin Moore Podcast, and when you use it on the discount code page, you get 10% off your merch on Justin's merch page. So I want to remind everybody to go do that. And that's about all I have.
Also, JR, do you have the dates in front of you? Sorry, we're dealing with some lagging on our Zoom call here, but hopefully our audio is fine. I was just going to tell folks about the other shows we have in March as well, unless you already did that and
no,
was lost in translation.
No, we actually, yes, we do. We have some acoustic shows we're going to go do. We're going to go play out. I don't have the name of it.
So March 11th, we're going to be in Sanford, Florida.
Yeah,
I believe that's at the Barn.
Is that what it's called, the Barn?
Club we played years and years and years and years ago.
That's right.
That we haven't played in many, many moons.
Yep.
That's March 11th. That's a Thursday evening. Then we'll also be doing a show on the 13th of March. That's a Saturday evening in Dothan, Alabama. Forgive me for not having the venue.
That's the plant. That will be the plant in Dothan. Cool. It used to be a Coca-Cola plant. They turned it's a neat venue. It's kind of outside. Yeah. And
then Sunday the 14th of March, one of my best friend's birthdays, March 14th. We're going to be at the Floribama.
That's right. Spring break, Sunday
Orange
afternoon,
Beach.
acoustic show at the Bama.
Right up the road from you.
Yep, hometown show. Love it.
That'll be fun. So that's 11th, 13th, and 14th in Sanford, Florida, Dothan, Alabama, Orange Beach, Alabama.
Yeah, Sanford, that's Orlando area, and Dothan is in South Alabama, and Floribama is obviously on the Alabama-Florida state line. So y'all go to Justin's website. I'm sure you can find the link on the tour page to that to find all the ticket purchasing information and any more information on that. And then, like I said earlier, the 27th of March will be at Fort Worth Stockyards. And then April, we've got some shows, some road shows. We're going out to Wyoming, South Dakota. Hopefully all that will happen. So everybody be safe out there, and let's do what we can do to get back on track here. Looking forward to a big 2021. And that's all I got for today, Jay. Anything else you want to drop on them?
No, I believe I'm good, man. I think my internet is timed out.
Uh-oh.
we keep having this lag go down, but hopefully our audio and our video is good, and it's just between you and I on Zoom, the Zoom machine.
Yeah.
But thanks again to Austin Dillon coming on,
Yep.
and best of luck to him. He's the points leader right now. We're a weekend. Hopefully that'll continue to be the trend for him throughout the year. And like I said, we'll catch back up with him down the road. And thanks again for him being on. And thank you guys for listening and watching. We certainly appreciate it. And we're getting closer and closer and closer each and every week to getting back out there on the road. So as JR said, you guys stay safe, be smart. We're all a part of the solution or the problem. So let's try to be more of the former.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you again to Founders Brewery, too, and these all-day IPAs. And we'll see you guys next week for Season 3, Episode 3 of the Justin Moore Podcast. Y'all take it easy, everybody. Cheers.
With Laney Wilson.
Yep, Laney Wilson next week. Rock and roll. Cheers, everybody.
Later.
For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels, and the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels. Get it in writing. To give a human example, brothers, even with a man-made covenant, no one annuls it or adds to it once it has been ratified. Galatians 3:15. The family and circle of friends and acquaintances I was born into and raised with were serious about giving their word. Once they did, they stood by it, whatever the cost. No formal contract was needed. Once a pledge was made, barring death or some other catastrophic occurrence, it was kept to the letter of the covenant. Of course, those times and those people are long gone. However, there's still a handful of people in my personal circle whose handshake is still as good as gold. Unfortunately, the rest of the world has to be dealt with by formal, meticulously written, outright documents. In my early years, when I was struggling to get a foot in the door, I signed some papers I came to regret later on. When there is no money involved, small points are easily overlooked. But later on, if large amounts of money come into play, the small points become huge. Putting it all on the table and hashing out even the smallest of details before you put your name on the dotted line can save big problems further down the road. Work out your differences before you enter into an agreement. Otherwise, little things can become big things. Let's all make the day count.